8 Keto diet before and after weight loss transformations. We love sharing stories of real men who change their bodies and lives. If you're looking to get in shape, these dramatic transformations offer plenty of inspiration to start your own weight loss journey. There are many ways to lose weight, but these guys attribute the keto plan for their results. Many on this list dropped more than 100 pounds on the high equals fat diet, and the before and after photos are incredible. Here are 8 weight loss transformations that are almost too amazing to believe. 1. Michael Searles, 100-pound weight loss. Michael Searles vividly recalls the time he knew his weight had gotten out of hand. He was in the store buying pants, he knew he'd put on a few pounds, and figured he was now too big for his usual 32 or 34 waist size. After he tried sliding on a pair of 38s, however, he realized they were still nowhere close to fitting. I panicked that day. I ended up putting on a size 46, and I remember being in the fitting room just looking at myself with tears in my eyes, not believing I was that size, he says. Read more about his weight loss story. 2. Matt Clemente, lost 200 pounds. Matt Clemente was in his late 30s and weighed 417 pounds. He was sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night, getting exercise only through trips upstairs to his office and back down for coffee. At first, his joints would creak. Then his legs started to buckle. And then, the kidney stone. Clemente was so large that doctors had to do invasive surgery to get rid of it. After the most painful, excruciating ordeal of his life, Clemente was done. I can't go through this anymore, he said to himself. Over the next 2 years, Clemente would lose over 200 pounds, pack on muscle, and reach a stocky 207 pounds, running Spartan races and doing CrossFit. Read more about his weight loss story. 3. Andrew Kim, 90-pound weight loss. Andrew Kim is a realist. At 27 years old, he's been through enough to know there's no magic pill that will make you happy, and no quick fix to getting healthy, so he's not letting the fact that he's lost 90 pounds in 10 months go to his head. Because he knows the hardest part of his weight loss transformation, keeping it off for life, is still ahead. As a kid, Cam noticed he was always bigger than other kids. The earliest memory I have of noticing that I was overweight was in elementary school, Cam told menshealth.com. At the time, his mom went to purchase him a t-shirt he needed for orchestra. The child's XL no longer fit, instead, he had to wear an adult large. I think that was the first time I actually started to be self-conscious about my size, he said. Though he was bigger, Cam's weight issues compounded during freshman year of college, when his mother died after battling cancer. It was an awful time in my life, he said. That made me super depressed. Cam went to therapy to deal with his grief and other mental health issues. But as he began eating foods that comforted him, his physical health took a turn for the worse. Read more about his weight loss story. 4. Ethan Speiser, 130-pound weight loss. Ethan Speiser had always been an emotional eater. Growing up, he frequently turned to food for comfort during challenging times. As a result, by the time he reached middle school, Speiser recalls, he weighed nearly 200 pounds. I always had trouble with portioning and eating healthy, he says. Speiser, 35, who now works in South Beloit, Illinois as a special education teacher, says that he also struggled with severe asthma, limiting his activity level. The combination proved to be a recipe for disaster, he says. When his weight peaked in his mid-30s, Speiser estimates that he weighed between 410 and 420 pounds. I would be sad that I was so big and eat as a result, which would make me feel worse. It became a vicious cycle. The turning point proved to be a photo that a bystander took of Speiser and his son during a boat tour while on vacation in San Diego. I saw the picture and was horrified. Not only because of what I looked like, but also realizing the example that I was setting for my son, he says. Speiser decided that day to commit to eating healthier and being more active, and has since undergone a dramatic weight loss transformation, dropping more than 135 pounds in less than a year. Read more about his weight loss story. 5. Jeremiah Peterson, 92-pound weight loss. As a kid in the 1980s, Jeremiah Peterson made the commitment to get fit, not just for his looks, but to fight off the bullies, too. It was knowledge that would serve him well later in life, when he found himself as a 40-year-old man who was 100 pounds overweight and in need of yet another lifestyle transformation. I was born and raised in Missoula, Montana, the river runs through it place, Peterson told menshealth.com. Growing up in the 80s, I was one of those kids always outside building forts, fishing, playing war, playing sports with all the neighbor kids. Peterson was also being bullied at school, so he wanted to get fit to protect himself and anyone else that couldn't protect themselves. In junior high, I made the decision to not get knocked around anymore, he said. I practically lived at the local Y lifting and shooting hoops. I chose then, at the age of 15, to get stronger and gain confidence within myself. Read more about his weight loss story. 6. Tyler Seagraves, 141-pound weight loss. Tyler Seagraves was always the bigger kid. Throughout his formative years, the now 35-year-old simply ate what he wanted, and had little to no sense of what healthy really meant. Being an Oklahoman didn't help either. His Sundays typically revolved around going to football games, tailgating, and eating all the hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and other foods that came along with those activities. But when his weight hit 335 pounds, he knew something had to be done. So he did what any sane person would do, bet his friend $2,000 he could lose the weight. He almost lost, but eventually, Seagraves managed to achieve a 141-pound weight loss transformation. Getting there was quite the battle. Read more about his weight loss story. 7. David Myers, 130-pound weight loss. David Myers was tired of being tired all the time. He'd always been a bigger guy, though people told him he carried the weight well. I would say I was fat and they would reassure me. I never thought I needed to change my ways at all, he says. Myers, 27, who works as a high school math teacher in Turlock, California, says the low point, as is so often the case, arrived when Myers saw pictures of himself, and realized the truth about how much he'd let himself go. At the time, he weighed nearly 360 pounds, and it suddenly became clear that the time to start eating better and exercising was long overdue. That was heartbreaking, he says. It was then that I decided to make changes. Here's how Myers got healthy. Read more of his weight loss story. 8. Antoniou Gutierrez, 100-pound weight loss. Antoniou Gutierrez still remembers the day he came home from the amusement park in tears. He'd been about to board a roller coaster, but when he went to sit down, the safety harness wouldn't close. I had to get up and exit the ride because I was too big, he says. The episode was the first in a series of turning points that convinced Gutierrez it was time to get healthy. Another bad incident was at the airport, he continues. I went to board my flight and the belt didn't want to close all the way. I had to suck in my stomach as much as possible for the plane to take off. I delayed the flight because I couldn't buckle up. Read more about his weight loss story.